Millions will never afford a home, says the Intergenerational Report. Millions of Australians will miss out on home ownership as the nation heads towards a long period of slow growth in household incomes, forcing more people to fall back on the age pension to pay for shelter. Hey, Gem, look, I know that this is, throwing forward 40-odd years, but I just can't help but wonder, we're not going to own homes because no one has planned to build any new homes around Australia.
Well, Clucky, you've just scratched my particular itch reading this story tonight before we came on air, and this idea of Mr Chalmers kicking the can of reform down the road. I mean, we haven't had a reforming government since the one that this absolute queen on my left served under Prime Minister Howard. We haven't had a reforming government for decades in this country. And the government that we currently have actually has the numbers, if it wanted to instigate meaningful structural reform. And we all know that reform is it's a little bit of pain for the longer good and the greater good. This government is interested in optics, it's interested in music festivals and selfies with pork rolls. It's not interested in anything of substance. It's interested in that absolute clown, with respect, Minister Burke, saying no one's allowed to ring you after hours. I mean, tell me you've never worked in the real economy without telling me you've never worked in the real economy. But back to this, the Treasurer is showing his absolute lack of real-world experience here. Everybody is noticing it. Every commentator in left and right media is pointing the finger. It is his job to do his job, not to just write academic think pieces and talk about how I will be the one to remake capitalism. The emperor has no clothes here.
Definitely not. Look,
sorry,
Bronwyn, final word?
The continuing nature of people who think that they hold the secret to success, who say we must have reform, but never spell out what that reform is.
Absolutely.
I mean, you get the BCA. The BCA says, reform, let us pay less tax. Wow, that's really cerebral.
What a novel concept.
How about this one? I'll give you a real case of reform. Abolish the capital gains tax and replace it with a speculative gains tax that phases out over 7 years. That means that if you dispose of an asset in the first 12 months, you pay it at your top marginal rate. But each year it steps down. What that does is turn over stock more readily, because when people who have bought properties as investment are hanging on to them, they calculate in the cost of the capital gains tax, which forces the price up. But if you've got a speculative gains tax, you're still garnering the tax in, but you actually are causing reform. Now, I have to say that was actually policy of the Liberal Party in 1990. But it didn't go ahead with it.
Terrific year, 1990. Graduated high school. What a year.
Well, the 90s are back in fashion, and they should definitely be back in economic sense, that's for sure.